Good day everyone. Good morning. So, for today's video, we will talk about reading the image or various planes of arts. Art appears in various forms, but this chapter sheds lights on the visual arts. Painting or architecture and etc. from era to era. In most cases, if you're asked by someone if the painting is good or bad, you will give vivid or abstract description as nice, cool, beautiful. But what are your own basis or criteria when you give such descriptions? Usually, your bases are drawn from your own personal preferences, beliefs, principles, orientation, and attitude, which are relatively subjective. So, I will show some of painting example. In this painting, what would you say about this? Yes, in first, you see it's just a good painting with a lot of colors in the background. So, this is the scream. His eyes wide with shock, he unleashes a blood-curdling shriek despite distant vestige of normality. Two figures upon the bridge, a boat in the fort, and everything is suffused with a sense of primal, overwhelming horror. This is, of course, is the scream by the Norwegian artist Edvard Munch, the second most famous image in art history after Leonardo Mona Lisa. So, why is reading the image necessary in appreciating arts? Because we can look at the images and it gives us not only a clear understanding of what their daily struggles and successes were, but it allows us to connect and emphasize on an emotional level, while also learning about their culture. Because art is not meant to be looked at only for what it is. And next, we will talk about the interrelated keywords of planes and the various planes of arts.
Plane refers to any surface area within space, and two-dimensional art, like the picture plane, is a flat surface that the image is created upon, such as paper, canvas, or wood. Plane is a flat surface extending in height and width. A line closes on itself to become a circle, or intersect with other lines to create a shape. Plane can be parallel to the picture surface, or it can skew and recede into space. Two-dimensional art is the processes are those that are created on a flat plane. It means that the composition possesses the dimension of length and width, but does not possess depth. Two-dimensional pieces of art, such as drawing, paintings, and print, are made up of a shape. Plane is the path of a line in motion, has two-dimensional length and width, but the volume, the path of a plane in motion, has three dimensions: length, width, and depth. For example, picture plane is always perpendicular of axis that comes straight out of your eyes. Example, if you are looking to the building that is in front of you and your eyesight is entirely horizontal, then the picture plane is perpendicular to the ground and to the axis of your sight. Plane surface is a flat surface, and any distinct flat surface within a painting or sculpture can be referred to as a plane.
Three-dimensional figures. Three-dimensional figures may be depicted in a flat picture plane through the use of artistic elements to imply depth and volume. So what is that three-dimensional figure? In geometry, a three-dimensional shape can be defined as a solid figure or an object or shape that has three dimensions: length, width, and height. The three-dimensional arts in 3D, which include sculpture, architecture, landscape, industrial design, and crafts like furniture. So what is the difference between 2D and 3D? So they are both visual art. They differ in dimension and size. The 2D have two dimensions and two sizes only: the length and the width.
So let's proceed the topic of distortion of space and foreshortening. A method for presenting foreshortened geometry systematically onto a plane surface was unknown for another 300 years. So what is foreshortening? Foreshortening refers to the technique of depicting an object or human body in a picture so as to produce an illusion of projection or extension in space. What element of art and perception skills do you need to understand in order to perceive foreshortened object correctly? So they are shapes, lines, space, textures, and gestalt. And then as you can see the picture where the artist may depict a figure at an extreme angle to show the foreshortening of limbs or body parts. That's why the technique of foreshortening requires a strong understanding of perspective and the ability to accurately depict the relative proportion of objects and figures. It can be challenging to master, but when done successfully, it can result in striking and impactful works of art.
So, what is color-filled painting? Color-filled painting is characterized primarily by its use of large fields of flat, solid color spread across or stained into canvas, creating areas of unbroken surface and a flat picture plane. Camille, 1992. Color-filled painting is a term initially coined by art critic Clement Greenberg and used to describe the works by abstract expressionist painters such as Mark Rothko and Barnett Newman. These artists composed their paintings with broad expanses of saturated color. This is the example of color-filled painting. Color-filled painting is the color itself, Rajanesha, then most used is dark colors.
So, my topic is about si Zane. So, si Zane is gipanganlan siya after ni Paul Cézanne. So, si Paul Cézanne is a French artist and a post-impressionist painter, and whose work the foundation in 19th century year 1996. And he was born on January 1839, and he died on October 22, 1906. Post-impressionist is a term used to describe the reaction in the 1880s against impressionism. It was led by four artists, then usa na si Paul Cézanne ato. And then ang tulo is gipanganlan nga si Paul Gauguin, Vincent van Gogh, and George Seurat. So, when we say post-impressionist is rejected impressionisms concerned with the spontaneous and naturalistic rendering of light and color. So, kaning post impressionist is kato nang nagpaint nga ilang mga painting is kanang mura ganing natural ratan-an, and then magtan-aw ka is kanang mura siya tinuod, and then kanang ang paggamit sa color is sakto-sakto ra, and then kanang ang kahayagon is sakto ra pud. So mao to silang upat nga mga post-impressionists in France. Both Matisse and Picasso that si Cézanne kuno of is the father of us all, and cannot be easily dismissed. So silang duha mo iniingon nga si Paul Cézanne kuno is the father of us all. So Cézanne used planes of color and small brushstrokes that build up to form complex field. At once, both of a direct expression of the sensation, the observing eye, and an abstraction from observed nature. So, this is the one of the artwork of Paul Cézanne. So, what kind of subject is this? So, as we can see, this is still life. Kay si Paul Cézanne is also known as a painter of landscape and still life. The painting convey Cézanne intends the study of his subjects. And that's all. Thank you.
Linear perspective is a drawing technique that gives the illusions of depth. In other words, it tricks the eye into believing that the picture in front of it is actually 3D, not 2D. Objects that are farther away from us appear smaller. So we draw them smaller to create the illusions of space and distance. So an example of linear perspective is the apparent convergence of two parallel lines, specifically while viewing along two-lane stretch of highway.
Good day everyone, my name is John Paul T. Torres. So for today, we will going to tackle about semiotic plane. So what is semiotic? Semiotic is the theory and study of signs and symbols, especially as elements of language or other systems of communication. Common examples of semiotics includes traffic signs, emojis, and emoticons used in electronic communication, and logos and brands used by international corporations. So it says that semiotic plane is a study of signs and symbols. One of the common examples of this are the road signs. Pero we notice that nowadays walay signs na naay text na turn left or turn right or etc. Ang nasa road signs kay ang image. So it is only the arrow sign that dictates us where to go or turn or etc. So next is semiotic plane also includes emojis or emoticons. So as far as we could remember in the early 2010, wala ni siyang mga symbols. So ang gibuhat sa una, tong uso pa ang keypad, they put hashtag sad or semicolons nga naay close parentheses. So kabantay mo form siya og smiley face. So mao na ilang buhaton to emphasize their emotions. But now it is only through various emojis and mas ma-understand siya sa imong kastorya since mas specific naman karon ang emojis. For example, kanang kasukaon ka. Naanay emojis nga kanang kasukaon sad so mas masabtan sa imong kachat ang imong na-feel. So symbols, signs, emojis are considered as visual text that communicates us through images. Next is brands and logos. The thing in brands and logos kay if you see in the t-shirt or kanang butang sa imong kastorya nga naay brand name like Dior, Louis Vuitton or kanang buhaya na logo or Lacoste, makaingon jud ka nga naay kaya ang imong katabi. Since these logos or brands indicates that you are capable enough in these branded things. These logos and brands is ganahan sa mga tao kay naa sila'y napatunayan as a brand. For example, imong katabi is naay suot na Louis Vuitton which is high-end na brand, so mutaas imong paglantaw ana niya. Mas ma-elevate sa brand ang imong perception sa usa ka tao. That's all, thank you.
Is a two-dimensional or three-dimensional picture? Yes, it is two-dimensional picture because it has two surfaces, have a length and breadth. A three-dimensional picture, it has three surfaces, also have length, height, and breadth. What do the symbol use represent? Example, bayanihan is a symbol of the unity of a people in a bayanihan. Bayanihan means literally being a bayan. Why are such symbols used? Bahay Kubo is a symbol of self-sufficiency, simplicity, and natural beauty. How are the symbols related to each other? And created oneness. Bahay Kubo is a symbol of Philippine culture has depict the most nurtured Filipino value called bayanihan.
Iconic plane. Iconic plane is the choice of the subject which may bear social and political implication. The term icon refers to a simple image with unique meaning. Also part of iconic plane is the positioning of figure, frontal, in profile, three-fourth, that implies the bearing of the meaning of the work. This is important not only in defining the relationship of subject and viewers but also in describing pictorial space. Also takes into account the relationship of figures to one another, whether masked, isolated in terms of affinity or contrast. The style of figuration or the proportion of the body deals with the image itself. We deal with the images, features one can see that as a signifier that is always carries the signified. The best example of iconic plane is Bahay Kubo because it implies farmers' humble economic status with limited income. Bahay Kubo is one of the most illustrative and recognized icons of the Philippines.
So, I will continue the discussion about what Christineri tackled about iconic plane. So, what is the main topic of the artwork Bahay Kubo? The Bahay Kubo, also known as Payag in the Visayan languages, is a type of stilt house indigenous to the Philippines. It often serves as an icon of Philippine culture. So, when we say iconic plane, for example, the Bahay Kubo. The Bahay Kubo is the icon of the Philippines because many people know that Bahay Kubo is from Philippines. So, icon is like the sign nga mura siyang ilhanan. Bahay Kubo is iconic of the Philippines, right? So, when we say iconic, this is the artwork that famous in our country. So, what is the artwork all about? Bahay Kubo is our example, right? So, Bahay Kubo is all about a symbol of unity of the people in the community by means bayanihan in the Philippines. So, what is the issue and trend depicted by the artwork? So, the Bahay Kubo is one of the design for Filipino that everybody should be proud of and also shows how Filipino creative is. So, how does Bahay Kubo create impact on the minds of the viewers? So, it will make a positive impact of the viewers in a way that we will showcase the real life and identity of being a Filipino. And with that, we are slowly and humbly doing some advertisements for our country growth.
The contextual plane, the viewer draws out the dialogic relationship of art and society. Art sources its energy and vitality. Vitality means capacity to live and develop from its context and returns to it as a cognitive force and catalyst for change. Catalyst means person or event that quickly causes change or action. The word context itself gives a message to the viewers, relatable from experiences, society, or living. So, for example, Bahay Kubo, it represents the artist's context of powerlessness, simplicity, and resilience.
What message does the artwork give to the viewers? It analyzes the artwork in a different perspective. It looks at an artwork in a cultural, social, or political context. It is often used by historians, art critics, or sociologists. What emotions does the artwork draw out from the viewers? Art and emotion. It is widely thought that the capacity of artworks to arouse emotions in audiences is a perfectly natural and unproblematic fact. What societal state is portrayed in an artwork that gives subliminal messages on? The influence of subliminal priming behavior outside of awareness in humans is an interesting phenomenon, and its understanding is crucial as it impacts behavior, choices, and actions. The way we draw a line can convey different expressive qualities. First, freehand lines can express the personal energy and mood of the artist. The second one is mechanical lines, can express a rigid control. Third one is continuous lines, can lead the eye in certain directions. Lines can express strength. And lastly is thin lines can express delicacy.
Hi, I am Marley Indigo, and now I will explain you what astrological plane. So, astrological plane is the study of artwork based on how it interacts on how viewer and providing dialogue relations toward art. So, my example is Bahay Kubo. Why Bahay Kubo? Why Bahay Kubo? So, for me, Bahay Kubo is super and unique artwork when it comes of the art. So, this product is unique to any building or any houses to the old generation. So, this design is also have a pyramid or also shapes, textures, and also color. The material he used is also bamboo and dried coconut. This artwork is the product of the indigenous people, of the old people, old generation people who established this kind of artwork. So, is the artwork influence to the viewer in what sense? So, for me, the influence the viewer first, the whole outcome of artwork and how creativity he do, and amidst this art work everyone who have own interpretations and expressions. However, the realize the artwork is not the same maybe for the viewer for not good in the other side perfectives for him, because not everyone have the same expression and the same imagination. So number 2, what are emotional and mental state or culture and social background of the artist? So for me, being a viewer and an artist is to be vulnerable your fan of your hearts for the world to see or dismiss or ignorance, the criticize or ridicule. You can get around that. Imagine you can from the 3D style and create our artwork, especially for the rich and the powerful. So artwork is the part for our cultures, and the artist is free to highlight an aspect of her lives. The society and the culture is the one who prouded it. So this kind of emotional is the beauty of the product or the beauty of the artwork. So that's all.
Though the elements of color, shapes, texture, etc. of the artwork complement harmoniously. Yes, the element like color, shapes, and texture complement to each other, as given example of an axiological plane is the Bahay Kubo. Bahay Kubo materials the use of dried cogon grass and vines matches the color of the land, bamboos, and breeding vines. All of the mentioned materials are environment available resources wherein we can feel the comfortable living in it. Is the artwork free from biases and prejudice among the gender, religion, and any sector? In my personal perspective, there are gender and religious biases in art, just like in any other human invention. The reason for this is that art is a byproduct of human culture and society convention which are created by belief, values, and attitude can that can be influenced by gender and religion.